Just when I thought we've heard it all, guys, then boom, this video. Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe, like, and share what you think about this video. So in this video, you hear a lady saying that if you are silent on what's going on in Israel right now, or even worse, you are a free Palestine person living in a free country, you are an anti-Semitic person and you are in the wrong. Now, this is not even the main focus or interesting part in this video. The interesting part is when she says that if you live in America, Hamas hates you and would do the same things they are doing to Israel to Americans if they had a chance. I don't know how true this is, but for the oppressed to move from inaction to action, they must break the fear barrier. I don't see how speaking out or condemning something bad is anti-Semitic. Like, why should people be called anti-Semitic just because they're calling a spade a spade? What Israel is doing to the Palestinian people is bad, and it has to be talked about and condemned. Check out this video. I will be right back.
People are going to be mad at me for what I'm about to say, and I literally could not care less. If you are silent on what's going on in Israel right now, or even worse, you're a free Palestine person living in a free country, you are an anti-Semite and you are in the wrong. We can criticize the Israeli government, settlements, there is nuance, there is discourse, that's totally fine. What there is not nuance about is people coming into a country and attacking people, civilians in their home, murdering people, celebrating about it. You can 100% find things online today that will change your mind. Like, they are disturbing. Like, I don't mean change your mind about the situation, I mean like change your brain chemistry. They are so upsetting. And let me tell you the best part about all of this that people seem to really forget. If you are living in a free country, specifically in America, Hamas also hates you and would do the exact same thing that they're doing to Israelis to you and your friends and your family if they had the access or the opportunity. I guess my bottom line is, let's just call this what it is, which is just pure, undebatable terrorism. It is so frustrating to hear so little, just nothing. I have not seen one non-Jewish person or public figure that I know or follow post anything today, but I know for a fact I'm gonna hear from y'all about violence not being the answer when Israel defends themselves. Nobody wants violence to be the answer. Nobody thinks that violence is a good answer, but to be honest, violence is the only answer. You have a solution: terrorists invading your country, murdering your civilians, and declaring war. If you have a solution for that, that is not war. Don't even leave it in the comments here, but take that like straight to the top, because you will have solved almost every problem in the world. If you disagree with me, just honestly keep scrolling. Don't even leave a comment, because I'm not really down to discuss this. I do not care. But if you are somebody who either doesn't know a lot about the situation or knows a little about the situation, but you're kind of unclear and you're kind of on the fence, I encourage you to do your research. I encourage you to talk to Jewish people that you know and people that you know with connections to Israel. I guarantee you, you're already seeing the other side just in the headlines that are coming out from major publications today. I encourage you to dig a little bit deeper, and I think you might be surprised by what you find.
Now, if violence really is the answer when it comes to defending yourself, then Hamas should be right for defending the land of Palestinians and everything that has happened and the treatment of the Palestinian people by attacking Israel. What this lady is doing is literally condemning Hamas attack on Israel. I'm not saying Hamas was right for doing what it did, but comparing the two, Israel has done more harm and caused a lot of unalivings than Hamas. Like, why can Palestinians be regarded that same privilege of defending themselves then? This is crazy, but let's check out these videos and hear what others had to say about this video.
The problem is, Israel was created to further Western nuclear and economic interests, so that the West could have a foothold in the Middle East, from where the West can enforce an unequal, capitalist, global framework where the West hoards wealth and steals resources, not for the salvation of Jewish folks. The West quite literally has had existential fear about how it will hoard wealth since colonialism at large came to an end, and since the end of chattel slavery. But Israel provides the West with moral cover to perpetuate colonialism, imperialism, and genocide. And the West told Jewish folks that their humanity would only matter if Palestinians did not have any. And because Zionists, and I'm using the word Zionist specifically, believe and perpetuate that lie. And this moral obfuscation provides the West with cover for the fact that the West is simply pushing forth genocide of Palestinians in order to hoard more wealth.
You are in the wrong.
Hi guys, so I know I just did this earlier, but I'm going to be talking about this video point by point because that first take is literally insane and the rest of the video is equally insane as well as cognitively dissonant. So number one, Palestinians would also be considered Semitic peoples. And number two, because being Jewish is an ethnicity and a religion, there are Palestinians who can also be Jewish. And furthermore, there are many Jewish people who do not agree with what the Israeli government is doing right now, and I don't think that they're being anti-Semitic. That clip is where the cognitive dissonance comes into play, because this is what was done to Palestinians in 1948.
Let's start at 1948 when the Nakba happened. This is where Zionist militias forcefully removed 750,000 Palestinians, including my father, from their homes. And would you like to guess what happened to the people who refused to leave their ancestral homeland? Over 15,000 of them got unalived, including women and children. Check all of these massacres. If you don't believe me, you could look up this video of this Zionist soldier who literally admits to mowing down Palestinian children who surrendered and raping a 16-year-old girl. And he tells all of these stories while laughing.
And let's not stop there. Let's look at the stark difference between Palestinian deaths and injuries on the left and Israeli. And this is where the cognitive dissonance comes into play, because you quite literally just said Israel has the right to defend itself. However, you don't grant Palestinians that same privilege. And the rest of your video is just regurgitating kind of those same points. I think innocent people should not be harmed because of this conflict that is going on, period. But the people who have the right to defend themselves from an illegal occupation and from the continued genocide of their own people is the Palestinians. The Israeli government would have nothing to defend itself from if it would stop this occupation. So now I need you to ask yourself, why can Israel defend itself, but Palestinians cannot defend themselves?
With the way you guys are throwing around the word anti-Semitism, it's losing all meaning. And I think the way it's being thrown around is also wildly irresponsible. It's not only invalidating the oppression and fear a lot of Jewish people are facing around the world, it's silencing a lot of their voices. The protests I've went to have been mostly Jewish voices talking about what's going on in Palestine and how it's oppressive. They are speaking out against Israel. So the people in your own religion are anti-Semitic, not to mention the fact that Palestinians are Semites as well. I think you guys are trying to weaponize the word anti-Semite and try to weaponize it in order to derail the conversation. And you guys are diluting the word as well. So when there's actual anti-Semitism to talk about and combat, people aren't going to be listening, and that's super dangerous. That's actually going to put Jewish lives in danger. So if protecting Jewish people is the goal, this isn't the way to go about it. It's completely valid to criticize the state of Israel for what's going on. They're ethnically cleansing an entire population, a population that's 40% children, and we can see it. We're over 50 days into it and we can still see this atrocity up and down our timelines, and we can see the lies in 4K. And arguments like yours aren't helping the matter.
Now, I'm just wondering if her use of words was correct, because first of all, you cannot be anti-Semitic just because you support Palestine. What is anti-Semitic is supporting a genocide against Arab people, against Palestinians. Now, that's anti-Semitic. Now, I've seen and heard this word being used and thrown at a lot of people, but maybe what we have to do is also take a look at the word Semite. Who is a Semite? A Semite is a member of any of the peoples who speak or spoke a Semitic language, including in particular, the Jews and Arabs. So stop calling people anti-Semitic every time they don't agree with your opinion. Like, can this stop? Enough of the Free Palestine means anti-Semitic rhetoric. Like, it's now getting old. These people need to get a new talking point. Since when did standing up for what's right and for people who have been oppressed mean that someone is anti-Semitic? Now, her version of America as the land of the free, to her it might be, but to me, and I think a lot of people, we don't think so. Because as a black person, our community, the black community reality is not her reality, even when she's calling it a free country where we all are in. Let's also take a look at the definition of anti-Semitism. Now, this is hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religion or racial group. This term was coined in 1879 by the German agitator Wilhelm Marr to designate the anti-Jewish campaigns underway in Central Europe at the time. Nazi anti-Semitism, which culminated in the Holocaust, had a art-to-the-cyst dimension prosecution in that it targeted Jews because of their supposed biological characteristics, even those who had themselves converted to other religions or whose parents were converts. Now, this variety of anti-Jewish Artucism dates only to the emergence of the so-called scientific Artucism in the 19th century and is different in nature from earlier anti-Jewish prejudices. This persistence of anti-Semitism into the 21st century and the marked rise in anti-Semitic incidents in the early decades of the country is what has prompted new consideration of how to define and combat phenomenon which we are seeing now. There has been an observation of a shift in the Israeli-Palestinian discourse in America. We have seen some supporters of Israel seemingly seen less afraid to condemn Israel's unaliving of civilians in Gaza, including dozens of Palestinian children. Historically, criticism of the Israeli government has been linked to anti-Semitism, but it's not nearly that simple. By conflating Judaism and Israel, the Israeli government created a paradox in which Israel's actions are beyond critique. Like, they are literally beyond critique. The irony is that Zionism and anti-Semitism are each other's best recruiting tools. So the official mission statement of the permanent mission of Israel to the United Nations says it represents the state of Israel, its citizens, and the Jewish people on the global stage. Now, in 2015, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu joined world leaders in a rally in Paris after the horrific attacks on satirical magazine and Scotia supermarket claimed by the Islamic State group. Afterward, Netanyahu proclaimed, "I went to Paris not just as the Prime Minister of Israel, but as a representative of the entire Jewish people." It is the conflation between Israel and Judaism, one that is backed into the foundation of Israel and perpetuated by its leaders, that leads to problematic tautology. Now, Israel's leaders represent all Jewish people, and thus, by definition, any criticism of Israel must be criticism of all Jewish people, and hence anti-Semitic. Now, this tautology allows accusations of anti-Semitism to be weaponized, particularly against people who speak up about Palestinian people and their rights, sometimes in ridiculous ways. Now, these anti-Semitic attacks, physical or rhetorical, in a dark irony, help Israel justify its actions. A month after the Charlie Hebdo attack in Paris, a Jewish guard was pew-pewed outside of a synagogue in Denmark. It was the perfect excuse for Zionists to again make the case that Jews need a nation state. In the tragedy's aftermath, Netanyahu's called on Europe Jews to migrate to Israel. We have come to the end of the video, but what do you, my viewers, have to say about this lady's video and what she's saying? Kindly share your comments, and thanks for watching.